Hi, I am Sarah Bernadette, and I am so excited to be here talking about my new album. It's my first full-length album. It's called New Leaves, and it's coming everywhere to all streaming services Friday, May 27th, so mark your calendars. So New Leaves, I gave it that title because it's sort of a culmination of where I've been and where I am right now and where I'm going in terms of my artistic self and also just my personal self. I have songs on there from, as recently as this past year, and I also have songs in there that I wrote when I was at the beginning of undergrad, like when I was 18, 19, and I'm in my mid-20s now. So for me, it's just this sort of combination of old songwriting, new songwriting, and I love that it features things from me now, but also things that have stayed with me throughout my performing career and for many years, and things that I finally got to record after wanting to record them for so long. In terms of the title, it's called New Leaves because I feel like I am sort of turning over a new leaf in terms of presenting myself to the world as an artist, really solidifying my artistic identity. I am not necessarily a new person, but this is a very definitive statement of like, this is who I am artistically, hello world type of thing. I mean, it's my first full-length album, so it's a pretty big deal, and I wanted it to really convey how I want to be seen artistically. It's also because the title, I have a lot of plant references in a couple of the songs, especially my song Green, which is the first single off the album, came out last year. It has a lot of botanical imagery to describe how it feels when you're first falling in love with someone and the potential for new life and new growth that you have. And then I have another song, sort of the opposite side, called What Did I Expect? And that's about also talking about relationships, like plants that you need to nurture, but what happens when you don't take care of them? What happens when you don't give it enough sunlight? What happens when you take care of it at first, or you buy it brand new and it looks beautiful, but then as the weeks, months, years go on, you don't continue to take care of it and you don't both take care of it. What happens then? So that's another reason why I called it New Leaves, but it also, it felt appropriate for the overall overarching theme of this is who I am, this is me presenting myself to the world. In terms of the recording process, this is where a lot of right in here in my room, this is where my part took place pretty much. All the vocals were recorded here, except for there's one song that features, two songs that feature other artists, so they recorded those in probably also their apartments. Where You Really From features Jenny Rudolph. She's an amazing singer-songwriter. She sang all the background vocals on that and arranged those. And then Green, which I just talked about, features two of my friends, Reese Massey, who lives in Los Angeles, and Claudia Gruber, who at the time was in New Jersey but now lives in Japan. She recorded that, so they recorded those remotely. The only time I was in a studio was when I was with the drummer Henry Godfrey, who's amazing. I went with him to the studio in Boston to record everything for the tracks and Eade drums. But otherwise, everything else was recorded by my amazing, wonderful producer, Stuart Mitchell. He is fantastic. He's one of these people who can kind of play everything. He did guitar and bass and keys for like everything, and he did production, mixing, etc. The album was mastered by Chloe Garot, who is a wonderful mastering engineer and who has worked with me in the past, a couple of past releases, and yeah, I think I got everyone there. So yeah, it's been really cool being able to do such so much remote collaboration. I mean, Stuart's in Los Angeles, for example. I'm here in Boston, but we were still able to record an entire album together. That's pretty amazing, honestly. Yeah, in terms of my writing process, like I said, the oldest song that's on this album is Love the Way You're Loving Me. I wrote that song when I was a freshman in college, and I'm 25 now, so I wrote that one a long time ago. And then the most recent ones were written in like the past year. I would say each song kind of comes into itself in its own way. Sometimes I'll write almost like a poem that ends up turning into lyrics. Sometimes I'll free write on an idea. Like for Green, for example, I thought about every single possible way I could talk about something being green. So I wanted it to mainly be about plants and nature, but I also talked about like emeralds, like something really valuable, you know, every positive connotation with green basically, so not like envy. But I kind of free wrote about that, and then I drew from that to make my lyrics. And I did a similar thing with What Did I Expect, but in a different way with the more sad plant metaphors. So yeah, other times the chord progression happens first, you know, so it depends. But the writing process is always, yeah, it always happens how it happens, you know? So yeah, I think that's about it. But I'm so excited for you all to hear this album. I think it's gonna be really great. I'm so proud of it. It really shows how far I've come artistically, from when I was 18 through now. It's kind of a summary, and not summary, but a summary, but also an announcement, a beginning of who I am as an adult songwriter, as a grown-up songwriter, because, you know, I started writing music when I was a teenager, a really young teenager, like 13. And so this has things from the beginning of adulthood through, well, I'm still kind of the beginning of adulthood, honestly, for being real. But yeah, so this is just a statement of who I am as a grown-up, as a artist, and how I want to be seen today. So I hope you enjoy it. Please go listen to it. It's on all streaming services Friday, May 27th. So yeah, New Leaves by Sarah Bernadette. That's me. Thank you so much for having me.